Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Crystal. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. Hopefully you like what you see and you stick around and subscribe. Today's video is going to be on makeup brushes for beginners. So I've had a couple people ask me what brushes do they need to start off with as a beginner. Now, when I first started watching videos on YouTube to learn how to apply makeup, I would see these people with crap loads of brushes, and I'm thinking to myself, like, that's a lot of damn brushes. And it was like kind of overwhelming, but it's not that deep, trust me. Now I'm going to show you 12 brushes that will not only help you achieve a full face of makeup as a beginner, but will also help you down the line in makeup when you learn new tips and tricks. I'm also going to show you what brushes I started out using as a budget-friendly beginner, and I'm also going to show you the brushes I'm using today, my holy grail brushes that I use every single day. So let's get started. Okay, so first off, please know that there's no real rules to this shit. Start off and learn the basics first, and then as you learn, explore with new things and play around and see what fits and what works for you best. And almost all of these brushes that we're going to talk about today can be used in so many different ways and with so many different things, but today we're just going to talk about the basics. Now you can knock out all of these brushes by buying yourself a makeup brush set, because all of these brushes are included in your standard makeup brush set. Or you can do what I did and buy them individually as you go and as you learn and as you figure that's what you need, because everybody's not going to do every step in makeup. So those are two ways you can get these brushes by a set, because they're all included, or buy them as you need them. Okay, so I've been talking long enough. Let's get started. I'm going to go in the order in which I apply my makeup, starting with the brows. Okay, so the first brush is the Spoolie. At first, I thought this was a very unnecessary tool because I wasn't big on doing my brows, but the Spoolie is very necessary. This brush is used to shape the brow and to put the brow hairs into place, which makes it easier to fill in the brow. It also helps to blend out brow products so you don't apply too much. When I first started with makeup, I didn't pay too much attention to spoolies because I wasn't too big on my brows. It wasn't until I got my first makeup brush set that I started getting more so into my brows and using my spoolies. And I have been using this spoolie since day one. This is my favorite spoolie, and I got this inside of a BH Cosmetics brush set. It is the Rose Gold brush set. I'm going to try to find the link to it below. This is one of my favorite brush sets, and I highly recommend it. It's really affordable. I think I paid for the whole set like $17, if that, might be $19, I don't know. But it was really inexpensive, and I use all of these brushes to today. So yeah, I'm going to leave the link below so you guys can find it. But this is the spoolie that I started out with, and this is the spoolie that I'm using now. The next brush is the Angle Definer brush. I use this brush to fill in my brows, plain and simple. Again, this comes from that Rose Gold BH Cosmetics brush set. This is the first angle liner brush that I had, and I used it then and I'm using it now. I have other ones, but this is my favorite. I think I like these so much because the handle on these are longer and it gives me more control when I'm using the brushes. I don't know, but I really do like these brushes, and I love the longer handles on them. Okay, so the next brush you need for your brows is going to be your concealer brush. There are two types of concealer brushes. You don't necessarily need both of them as a beginner. The first one is this really flat concealer brush. I do recommend you get this one if you're not going to get both, because this one is great for cleaning up the brow area, and you can use this for other areas on the face, which you'll learn later on down the line. But the other one is this soft, fluffy one. And this is the one I say you can hold off on getting. I like it because I clean up and blend away any concealer around my brows, and I also use this for so many other things too. So, but this is something you can get later on down the line, because you can always blend out that concealer around your eyes, your eyebrow with your finger. So if you get it, that's good. If not, but definitely get the flat one. Okay, so that's it for brows. Moving on to eyes. I can spend a whole day talking about eye brushes alone. There's so many different eye brushes, but as a beginner, there's really only two that you need. I say there's two different types that you need, but I recommend you have at least 3 or 4. And as a beginner, you're not going to be doing too many complicated looks, so that's why I say you only really need 2 types of brushes. The first one's going to be your regular eyeshadow brush. This brush I use to pat color onto my lid with. It picks up matte shadows really nicely and apply it to the lid really well. This is one of the first brushes I did start out with when using makeup, and it's a MAC 220 something brush. 220, I don't know. I'll find it what it is, and I'll put the link in the description box below for you. You know what, I'm lying. I started out with a e.l.f. shadow brush, and I think it was like $1. I can't find it because I think I gave it away. Because I got this MAC brush, but you can find an eyeshadow brush anywhere. You don't have to pay $16, $17 for an eyeshadow brush. You can find them in any brush set, like I was saying in the beginning, or you can buy them anywhere. So like you don't have to spend that much on an eyeshadow brush. They pretty much do the same thing, but quality does play a big part with brushes, but that's something you can invest in down the line once you get the hang of this makeup thing. The other eye brush that you definitely need more than anything are blending brushes. I would recommend you get 3 different blending brushes. There's so many different type of blending brushes. You got a crease blending brush. You know, I'm not even going to go into that, but you got a couple different ones. They come in different fluff varieties. You have a really foofy one, a tapered foofy one, and then one like in the middle. Foofy, that's like the best word I can use to describe it. But I recommend, if not getting 3 or 4, at least get 2. One to apply a transition color, and then a clean one to blend everything out, because with shadows you want to blend so there's no harsh lines, and you can never have too many blending brushes, okay? So even if you start out with 2, later on down the line, pick up 1 here and there. I do highly recommend blending brushes. So the first blending brush I started out with was an e.l.f. blending brush. I gave that away, so I can't include it in this video. I have a lot of favorite blending brushes, but I picked my favorite 2 for this video. The first one is that MAC one that I was telling you about, which I can't tell you the number right now, but I will leave in the description box. I use this freaking brush faithfully every single day. I need to buy another one because I just love this brush. It's nice and it's kind of tapered, but it's still fluffy at the same time, so it's perfect for the crease, and it's perfect just for applying transition shades. And then my other favorite one is the Sigma E40 tapered blending brush. It's denser than the MAC brush, and it just picks up product and applies to the eyes so nicely. And I love to blend out harsh lines with this brush too. The bristles are nice and soft, and I just love this brush. These 2 are my favorite blending brushes, but I just love a blending brush because you can never have enough blending brushes, because when it comes to eyes, you want to blend like your life depended on it. Blend, get those harsh lines out of there. That's basically it for beginner eyes. Let's move on to face brushes. The first face brush we're going to talk about is the foundation brush. Now, your standard foundation brush is going to look more so like this. I don't have a foundation brush like that because I gave them all away. I do want one now for some reason. I don't know why. I just feel like I should have it. I don't know. But there's so many different types of foundation brushes. I have a few different ones, and I like them all for different reasons. This Real Techniques brush is the least expensive foundation brush that I own. This is one of the ones that I started out with, and I do recommend this for beginners. You can get them at Targets, Walmarts, Ulta, anywhere basically. They're not super expensive, and it applies makeup really well. The bristles on this brush is really dense, and it's not that big of a brush. It's like nice and compact and round, and I like it because you can get in this area really nice with this brush. However, my holy grail brushes and my favorite 2 brushes at the moment have to be these 2. This is the Marc Jacobs face brush, and this I got in a Morphe brush set. This doesn't have a number or anything on it, but I will link the information to that Morphe set in the description box. I like these for 2 totally different reasons. They're 2 totally different looking brushes, and they apply the foundation to your face differently. I like the Marc Jacobs face brush because it's so dense and compact, and it applies a freaking full coverage foundation like nobody's business, okay? When you want to look beat and you want to have like no streaks at all in your foundation, and you just want flawless, like runway beat that face makeup, I use this freaking Marc Jacobs brush. It's like amazing. No streaks in your foundation, and it just applies flawlessly. This Morphe brush, I don't even think this is a foundation brush, but I use it for my foundation. Like I said, there's no rules to this thing, ladies. Play how you want to play. Found out what works for you. But I found this brush, and I said I'm going to try it with foundation. And I'm happy that I did because I love it. Whenever I apply my foundation with this brush, it's like to me it's like a fluffy kabuki brush. When I say kabuki, I mean it's flat on the top, and it's kind of dense, but not as dense as the Marc Jacobs brush. And I just buff it on, and everyone tells me that my makeup looks airbrushed. Now, when I want that not so heavy beat that looks airbrushed and just like flawless, no streaks, also, I go for the Morphe brush. Play around with foundation brushes because there's a couple different ones. I have like a Sigma Kabuki, which I also do like, and it's just like a denser, more compact version of this one, and it's not as big. So like I said, there's a couple different foundation brushes. Start out with something cheap. till you get the hang of applying your foundation, this is a really good brush, and I do recommend this one on the lower end side. Okay, so the one thing I think that everybody should have when doing makeup that just helps your makeup look really natural and beat is a sponge. I'm not going to call this a beauty blender because the real beauty blender is like 20 bucks. That's too much to pay for a sponge. I hear great things about it. I'm this close to like trying to get one and trying it out, but my bank account won't allow me to spend $20 on a sponge. It's just not, it's against my better judgment. I highly, highly, highly recommend the Real Technique sponges. This is the sponge that I started out with, and I use these sponges today. I love this flat surface on it because it's great for smoothing out under the eye. But the pointy part, you can get in between this little crack right here. It works just as good. I can't say just as good because I didn't try the Beauty Blender, but I'm pretty sure it's just as good. And they're like $6 for one versus $20. I'm just saying, you use this sucker for almost everything. Let me just tell you. Make sure you wet it before you use it because you should use your Beauty Blender damp. You don't want to use it dry because it's not going to blend out anything. And you don't want it too wet, so you want to squeeze out the excess water and just use it damp. Now this, you blend out concealer with it. You can apply foundation with this. You can highlight and contour with this. You can correct stuff with this. This is just necessary. We'll just talk about all crap it can do once you get it. Just get it. You need it. Okay, so our next face brushes are setting brushes. I have two setting brushes to talk about. The first one is going to be the smaller of the two. So this is the Real Technique setting brush. This setting brush is perfect for setting your under eye area with loose powders. It's small and it's tapered and it fits right in this area perfectly. And I like that it's slightly fluffy, so you can just like poof on the product and you don't apply too much. So again, inexpensive Real Techniques brush. This is the setting brush that I started out with. I do have others. However, I think all of my setting brushes are inexpensive for the under eye area, but try this one. I like it. It's the perfect size, applies the perfect amount of product, and like I just like it. This is the one I started out with, and this is my favorite one today. And the other setting brush is the large powder brush. This brush I use to set the foundation on my entire face. You want something large and fluffy. It doesn't have to be this big. I'm just extra. I like the bigger the better to me. I don't know. It picks up the perfect amount of product so you can build the coverage as you like. It doesn't apply too much if you don't want too much. And it just sets your foundation on your entire face like perfectly. This one is the Real Techniques powder brush. The first one that I started out with was from that Rose Gold BH Cosmetic brush set. I do still use that one today, but however, the Real Technique one is my favorite one at the moment, and it's inexpensive, and I love the fluffiness of it and how big it is. So you want to make sure you get those two setting brushes because you want to set your foundation and you want to set the concealer under your eyes. So you need at least those two setting brushes for now. Okay, so your next brush is going to be your bronzing brush. So a lot of the bronzing or contour brushes look like this. They have that like angle to make it look easier to get in this area. You can use this for contouring, but as a beginner, take your time. You don't have to jump into contouring. Just bronze your face a little bit, and that helps to add color back to your face. You want to hit up this area here and the hollows of your cheekbones and right around here on your chin line. That's going to add color to back to your face after you put your foundation and everything on, and it's also going to put some more depth to your face so you don't look like a blank, straight, flat canvas. So just get a little bit of bronzer here, here, in here. That's it. Worry about contouring later, but if you get the angled one, you can also use this when you contour, but it's also good for bronzing. But you can use any like small or not too big fluffy brush to apply bronzer to your face. My favorite one right now, is not in front of me, but it's really fluffy but flat at the same time. I can't explain. It's big. And I just like it. I like it because it's flat and fluffy, and it applies a really light amount of product in this area. I want to go get this brush so I can show you because I'm doing this like you see and you just can't. So I'll be right back. Here she is. This is my baby. I love this brush for bronzing. Like I said, it's fluffy, but it's flat at the same time. Can you see how flat it is? It's fluffy, but it's flat. It's like perfect. It's perfect for bronzing this area. And because it's fluffy, it doesn't pick up too much product, so I just dust it across my forehead, and that flatness is like it's just the perfect bronzing brush. And this is supposed to be a powder brush so you can set your face with it, but like I said, I make my own rules. Don't tell me what to do. It's my brush. The next brush is your blush brush. Self-explanatory, blush. I like mine to be nice and fluffy and big. They come in all different sizes. You got some small ones, medium ones, big ones. I like big ones. This is the Real Techniques blush brush. This is the first blush brush that I started out with, and you know, it wasn't big enough for me, so of course I had to go bigger. The one I use now is like bigger and fluffier. So it's just this, but bigger and fluffier. And it's the Morphe one from my Morphe set that I will leave the link to below because they don't have numbers or names on them. So it's just bigger and fluffier, and I'll leave the link below. Get a blush brush. You need one. Now the next brush is probably every girl's favorite brush, and I'm talking about highlighting brushes. I started out with not a fan brush. I thought this was the dumbest brush ever. I never picked it up. I started out highlighting with the e.l.f. tapered, small tapered brush, and it's more so for me a setting brush. I use that brush to set my under eye sometimes when my favorite brush is dirty. And then I picked up a fan brush and I put some highlight on with it, and it was just, what? And I never went back. I never highlighted with anything other than this mother effer right here. This was my first fan brush. It's really thin. They come in different shapes, different sizes, widths. I can't say sizes. This is a thin one, and it's not super big. And it was just like, you know, getting me through. And then I upgraded to this bad boy when I got this Morphe Brush Set. And it's a little thicker, so it picks up a little bit more product. And it's wider, and I'm going bigger. I'm going to get me, I've seen this one that was like this big. My whole face gonna be gold when I get that brush. Okay, ladies, this brings me to my last brush. This brush is extra. You don't necessarily need it, but I'm extra. But if you want to have more natural looking makeup and a more flawless look, I highly recommend you picking yourself up one. I'm talking about a blending brush. You can get a big fluffy brush. This is the blending brush that I have and I love so much. This is a CoverGirl fluffy brush, face brush that I saw in Walmart one day for $5. I picked it up and I never looked back. I want to get another one because I need two, I think. I don't know why, but I feel like I need two. But a little fluffy kabuki brush would work. Blending brushes are great because it blends your whole face look together. It makes everything look cohesive and seamless and just flow naturally and flawlessly together. After you apply your contour, go in and blend that in with your foundation. After you apply your blush, go back in and blend that out with your contour and your foundation. And you want to blend everything together. I highly recommend a blending brush, but like I said, as a beginner, you might want to get that later on down the line. But for $5, you might want to get one now. And that's it, guys. Those are all the brushes that I recommend that you start out with as a beginner to achieve a full face of makeup. They're inexpensive versions of these brushes, or you can knock it out in one punch, like I said, and buy yourself a brush set. There's inexpensive sets that I recommend, Morphe sets, BH Cosmetic sets. I will leave some links in the description box below. I really hope this video helped you guys out. I hope it was informative for you. If it was and you liked it, please give me a big fat thumbs up. Please, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.